What's going on? Alternative Influence Coaching. It is Terry, and I'm happy to be back with you on video. Welcome. Hoping you're having a good day. Hope that you find a second to like and subscribe to this channel, like this video, and comment below with any questions you have, or maybe any recommendations for the next video. Today, I am doing a recommendation from one of our viewers on investment. So types of investors and pros and cons, things to look for, and things to be cautious about when looking for an investor. So, by popular demand, here we go. I've been fortunate enough to do several types of business over the years, and haven't had much outside investment in most of them. There have been two where I have gotten investorship, and those they come with a little bit of I don't know, there are feelings involved. That's what I'll say. So I want you to think for a second what you would be interested in investing in. Think, put yourself in the shoes of your, I don't know, quote unquote investor before you have the conversation with said investor. All right. Another thing you have to do is you got to come up with a business plan. You have to come up with a legitimate business presentation. It can be on paper in PDF form, or if you want to get fancy, you can do a PowerPoint. I do love a PowerPoint. It's entertaining. Excuse me. You have to do a business plan. In your business plan, it's smart to have market research. It is also smart to talk about ROI. So return on investment. What you think that your plan is going to manage for the investor. Investors do like to hear that. Otherwise, you're asking for a gift of money if you don't really have an ROI or a business plan or market research inside of your presentation. You're just asking for money. And that could get messy. So you should make sure at least there's a contract involved to protect both parties, and then move from there. So let's underline this. Before you do this, you must have a business plan. In it, there should be market research. There should also be levels of return on investment. There also should be some sort of contract or clearly defined roles between you and your investorship. That is wise, that is smart. You need to figure out what type of investor you're looking for. And sometimes that means you need to figure out what type of business owner you are. If you feel like you're stuck, you have a vision, you have a plan, and you've moved it somewhat forward, and you need to be bolstered, pushed further, then you might need an investor that's hands-on. Okay, I've been fortunate to have investors that have been hands-off because I have a team, and usually my team is pulling me back because I'm pushing too far. So maybe you're like that, maybe you're not. Maybe you need a little push. So something to think about. How involved do you want your investor to be? Okay, simple questions that you like to ponder over a hot cup of joe. Onward we go. Simple types of investment, and I've kind of got them listed almost in a rigid format. The hardest one I think to get is a bank loan, small business loan. And because they need all of those things, and they're a little bit more cold when it comes to your vision. They don't feel what you feel. They're a little harder to convince. You need more numbers. They're data driven, as opposed to a peer-to-peer style, which is down here, peer-to-peer style investor. Okay, the bank's going to ask you for all of the things that I told you, and you might want to see your own financial records. They're going to want to see collateral. They're going to want to be able to analyze the risk that they have involved. They're going to want to see what your equipment is, and when you buy your equipment, they're going to want to know how much it costs, because they're going to want to recoup in case you fall, you fail, you close up. Okay, so banks are rigid, and rightfully so. I mean, it's protecting their investment. They're a little less worried about return. They just want you to pay. They've got their percentage built in to their loan. So they ain't really worried about your promises or your passion. So yeah, not for everybody. Depends on what you're doing. Next one, we have an angel investor. Angel investor is kind of cool. So recently there's been a law change to where you can get angel investors now. You can find them online. You could submit applications and you could reach these small investor groups and get small amounts, large amounts, whatever, and you can do it all virtually. So this is a new thing. It's rather new. Not everybody will qualify, but if you Google angel investors, you'll find several companies and several groups that are now doing this. And there is a fee involved on both sides. So, and yeah, it's cool. I would like to have known about it when I was starting my businesses, and maybe used it back then. So angel investors are not only online. You can find somebody who is, it's someone who might know that you're willing to kind of humble yourself and say, hey, here's what I'm kicking around. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. And they're going to want to see some documentation. Okay. They want to see your plan so that they have some confidence. All right. So moving on, peer-to-peer is maybe you're asking your good friend to get behind you, get involved in a way that is going to push you further. Peer-to-peer is just short of asking for a loan from a friend. There should always be a contract involved, and there should always be clearly defined roles. You've heard me talk about that in the past. That's where, if I've been in any conflict in business, it's because we haven't talked about who's doing what. And if you don't go back and do that, you can still go back and do that now if you're in business and you've been in business for a couple of years and you've got a business partner and you're growing. If you haven't defined your roles per each individual, for each individual owner, then it's never too late to do that. Because as you grow, that'll be something that could be a potential divider of your business, okay? And you don't want that. That is really messy. All right, and then venture capital. There are venture capitalist companies out there. These guys are typically a little bit more involved. This is bigger companies, basically. Usually there's one representative and then several funders, several wealthy people pitching in money into this pot. And you've got a guy who's out there kind of deciding, or a group of guys or a group of people out there deciding, or a board deciding on who they're going to invest in. This is usually reserved for things that have massive growth potential. I'm not saying that you don't, but I'm saying that one's like the venture capitalists that started up, like Tesla or Lyft. There's those types of things. There's hedge fund people involved, hedge funds involved in venture capitalist groups like that. So maybe that one's not where you're going unless you've got some really cool software that is, or some AI program out there or something like that is going to be huge. Okay, with really big potential. So I hope that helps you. Each one of them has their own little bit of pros and cons, which we've covered for the large part. And maybe you don't need an investor at all. A lot of times as you're doing this work, you're doing the business plan and the market research, and you're going through all of those, jump through all those hoops, you realize that maybe I should simplify this vision. Maybe I should simplify this plan and self-fund it. That is what I did. It's what I'm currently doing. I have a clothing line, KVA. It's currently self-funded until it starts to get on its feet. You start rolling that money right back into the business. You reinvest it into the business. You take no pay for a while, so that way it doesn't touch your personal income any more than you actually planned for it to or want it to, so you don't suffer the losses. So, all things to consider. You got an idea for a video? You got to ask questions. Want to know how this might apply to you? hit us up in the comments. I would love more topics. You want the interview that you want to see. You want to see more of, Nick Carrier, or you want to see more of Ian White, or you want to see more of Roy. Holler at me, and we'll sit down with those guys, and we'll do some more interviews. All right. Always open to hear more from y'all out there. So please like and subscribe, and we thank you for being here today.